All right, so we got like multiple cameras going on here in case you can't figure out which one to look at. We even got this one's kind of cool over here. Kind of bright, but let's see what happens here. Anyway, hey, we're doing circles in this lesson. I don't know when you're watching it. Maybe you're not. I don't know. But we're doing circles in this lesson. You all know what circles look like. At least I hope so. We'll draw a circle here real quick. Make sure you know what circles look like. Believe it or not, that's a circle. Okay? Circles. That's what circles look like. Circles have a center. Again, I hope you know that. Circles have a center. We're actually going to label that center as HK. Okay, X is our values, because we're actually going to graph these on the coordinate plane. We're going to do lots of things with circles in this lesson, obviously. We're going to look at the standard form of an equation of a circle. We're going to take care of that. We're going to find the radius. We're going to find the different vertices and do all those different types of things so we can write that equation of a circle. We're going to start out by, giving certain things, writing the equation, and then we're going to be given the equation and have to find certain things. So kind of both directions. And then kind of the last thing we're going to look at here is we're going to talk a little bit about systems of equations and how we solve linear equations that, so if we have a circle and then we have a linear equation that goes through them, finding those two intersection points on those. So a little bit to do today. We'll start out with a general definition of what a circle is. So general definition of what a circle is. The standard form of an equation of a circle with center HK and with radius r is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Okay, so highlight that. Put that somewhere so you know it's at. This is our standard form for a circle. And again, our center is that h and k value. The radius is obviously the radius. The r is obviously the radius of the circle. So as long as we know the vertex, or we can find the vertex and we know the radius or can find the radius, we can write the equation of the circle. So the first one says, write an equation of a circle and sketch its graph. What are the domain and the range of the relation? That part we won't worry about too much. We're just going to work on writing the equation of the circle. So it says a circle centered at the origin with radius of radical 3. So we've got this circle sitting here. It's got a radius that's radical 3. We have to write the equation. So center is 0, 0. So we've got x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals r squared. Well, that's radical 3 squared. So x squared plus y squared. Square root of 3 squared is just 3. There is the equation of a circle with a radius of radical 3 that starts at the origin, and you're done. Ain't nothing left to do with that one. Okay, let's look at the next example. Write the equation of a circle and sketch the graph. Again, we're not going to worry about the domain and range. It's centered at negative 3, 5, and has a radius of 5 halves. Okay. Yippee. Center is at, so we've got x minus negative 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 5 halves squared. So that's x plus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared, 25 fourths. Done. And there's your solution. Okay. And could we sketch it? Sure, whatever. Okay. Go ahead, do number 2 down there. Find the equation of a circle described. The center has 8, negative 3. Radius is 1. X minus 8 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals equals 1. Pretty straightforward. When they give you the radius, they give you the center, and you kind of just follow along. Now what happens if they don't? Okay, so in this one, a city wants to honor homemade. I don't think they're homemade. Siri's over there is thinking I'm saying something. Siri, I don't need anything. But Siri, you could tell us a dad joke. She's not going to do it. So a city wants to honor hometown veterans with a new memorial park in a local park, new memorial statue in a local park. A grid map of the park shows the statue centered inside a circular fence with radius 5. 2 spotlights are shown at points 2, 2, and 5 and 10, 8 on the map. They are the endpoints of A. They're the endpoints of the diameter of the circular fence. What is the equation that represents the graph? So we've got these 2 endpoints at 2, 2 and 10, 8. They're part of our diameter. They told us the radius is 5, so they gave us the radius. We just need to find the center point. So how do we go about finding the midpoint? So the midpoint is your x's divided by 2, and your y's divided by 2. So x1 plus x2, so 10 plus 2 divided by 2, that's 12, that's 6. 2 plus 8 divided by 2 is 5. So that is the center of my circle. And it's kind of that midpoint. So now we know the center. They gave us the radius is 5, so it's just x minus 6 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals, the radius is 5, 5 squared is 25. There it is. And we're done. So again, you got to use the midpoint formula every once in a while. You very well may have to use the distance formula sometimes to find, maybe they give you the center and they give you an end point on the circle. So you'll have to use the distance formula. Remember, the distance formula is equal to the square root of x1 minus x2. That's an x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. That's the distance formula. So you might need to use the distance formula in there to find the length of the radius sometimes. Remember, the radius is half the diameter, and so on and so forth with that piece of it. Okay, so there's the first part of it. Really not too bad. Second part of it is just like the other day when we were working with parabolas, we're going to go ahead and how do we go about and write the equation for this? Okay, so here's our original problem. Let's get rid of that little mark in there. So it says, how can you rewrite the equation x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 8y plus 4 equals 0 to show that these equation of a circle, and then we want to identify the center and the radius. So our standard form for a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So that means we're going to have to do some completing the squares. Okay, and we'll put the radius on the other side. So I'm going to put my x's together. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to put my x's together. So I'm going to go x squared plus 4x. Now I'm going to leave some space because I have to complete this square. So I'm just going to put plus some box. Now I'm going to put my y squared. So plus y squared minus 8y plus, again, I have to put some box. Now my radius has to go on the other side. So since my radius has got to go on the other side, I have to put a minus 4 here. But now let's think about this. If I add to one side of an equation, what do I have to do to the other side of the equation? I have to add. I know when we were dealing with parabolas the other day, we talked about, we were on one side of the equation, so what I added, we subtracted. Well, we're on different sides of the parabola right now. We're on different sides of the equation now. So when you add to one side, you have to add to the other side. So it's a little bit different than we were doing when we were dealing with parabolas, but it's because of where we're doing this on the equal sign. So I'm going to put a plus a box here and plus another box there. So we're going to change colors. We're going to go ahead and complete the square. So for this first part, x squared plus 4x plus half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So I'm going to put a 4 there. That also means I'm going to put a 4 on the other side. Now we go to the y values. Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. So I'm going to put a 16 on that side. That means I need to put a 16 on this side as well. Now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and factor. So we factor this. Remember, it's x, whatever that symbol is, and half of that. So it's x plus 2 squared plus y minus half of that is 4 squared. So that takes care of all of that. That is that factored. That is that factored. And that's going to equal, in this case, 16. So my center is the HK. But again, remember it's x minus h. So my center is negative 2, 4. The radius, okay, is in this standard form. This is r squared. So r squared is equal to 16. So r is equal to 4. So in this case, our radius is equal to 4. So there's our center. There's our radius for a circle in that equation. Okay, let's look at another one of those. So we got x squared plus y squared plus 10x minus 6y minus 2 equals 0. Again, we're going to write the equation of the circle. I'm going to go through this. If you want to just hit pause, do it yourself, and then hit play. Okay, so I rewrote it, putting my x's together, putting my y's together. Move the radius, which is going to be the radius, to the other side. Fill in the boxes. Half of 10 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So that means I put a 25 here, and I put a 25 on the other side. Half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So I put 9 in both of them. Factor the x's. That's x plus 5 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 36. Another nice number. So our center is at negative 5, 3. Radius is 6, square root of 36. Okay, a little bit easier. Once you get this, completing the square and all of that kind of stuff taken care of, it does tend to be a little bit easier in going through these. You get a little bit used to this. And we're going to be doing a lot of this within this unit. We're going to talk about ellipses next, in the next lesson, and then we're going to talk about hyperbolas in the last lesson. So those types of things will be taken care of kind of as we go along. Okay. Last thing that we're going to talk about then in this unit is we're going to talk about, okay, so now let's say that we have this circle. Okay, so the bottom one is kind of that circle. It's center 0, 0 with a radius of 5. And then we've got this line going through it. How do we figure out the solution for this system? In other words, where do they intersect with each other? Put it in Desmos. That probably works, but we want to be able to solve systems of equations as well. When we're doing these, remember the methods we've used in past methods when we're solving systems of equations. We use graphing, and you could use Desmos to do this. Graphing this any other way would be, without Desmos, would be almost impossible. There's no way you would ever do it. You could use elimination, where you added and subtracted down the columns. Problem with using elimination on this one is we've got an x squared in the second one, and we don't in the first one. So making that x squared is going to be a pain in the butt, so you're not going to do that. The other way to do these then is by substitution, and that's the method that we're going to use for this. We are going to use substitution. So the first thing we're going to do then is we're going to take this and we're going to solve one of the equations for x or y. So obviously the top equation in this one, the 3x minus y minus 5, we're going to go ahead and solve that for y, so we know what y is equal to. So if we do that, you're going to subtract 3x from both sides, and we're going to add 5 to both sides, something you guys should be able to do. So that gives me negative y would be negative 3x plus 5. Again, just move the 3x and the 5. Now we want y to be positive. So y is going to equal, just switch the signs, 3x minus 5. Okay, so now we know what our y value is equal to. We know our y value is equal to 3x minus 5. So now we go into that second equation, the actual circle one, and anywhere in that equation that we see a y, we're going to replace it with 3x minus 5. So that gives us x squared plus, now I'm going to put in parentheses, 3x minus 5 squared, and then we still have the minus 25 equals 0. Now we have to start solving. So we've got x squared plus, okay, good review. This is 3x minus 5 times 3x minus 5. And we got minus 25. So this is x squared. Now we've got a FOIL. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. Minus 3x times negative 5 is minus 15x. Inside is minus 15x. Plus 25. Minus 25. This 25 came from negative 5 times negative 5. That equals 0. Combine like terms. So that's 10x squared minus 30x equals 0. Nice. Okay, so we've got an x squared and we've got an x. We're going to take out a GCF. Always factoring, take out a GCF. GCF is 10x. So we take out a 10x. That gives me x minus 3. 0 product property then says that we can have two solutions to this. So x could be, so 10x could equal 0. So x could equal 0, or x minus 3 could equal 0. So x could equal 3. So there are my possible answers for x. Now that we know the possible answers for x, we're going to substitute those in and find the possible answers for y. And actually, these are the intersection points. It's going to intersect at 0 something and 3 something. So we're going to use 0 first. We'll do that in blue. So if I substitute 0 in there, we would have y is equal to 3 times 0 minus 5. So y would be negative 5. So that gives us the point 0, negative 5. That's one of our intersection points. We'll do the second one in purple. So we said 3. So y equals 3 times 3 minus 5. So 9 minus 5, which is 4. So we have the intersection point 3, 4. So there is the solution to that system of equations. Long process, yeah, but we're using substitution, something you've done before. And this is a fantastic question because I can ask so many different things with this question. Do you understand what it means to solve a system of equations? Do you know what it means to use substitution? Do you realize that when you square something, it means taking it times itself? Do you know how to FOIL? Once you've got all that FOILing done, do you know how to combine like terms? Once you've combined like terms, do you realize that you've got a quadratic, and then you have to take out a GCF? Take out that GCF, then you have to use the zero product property. Once you've used the zero product property and you know what your values for x are, do you know how to use substitution? And then what do those two things mean, given those different points within there? So great question, ACT type of question, any type of question. This is a really good question and can test a lot of different things that I certainly hope you can and want you to be able to do. So let's look at another one of these. So the next one we're going to look at, kind of like we always do. I want you to hit pause, and then I'm going to work through it. I'm not going to talk at all. Hit pause and see how you do when you get to the end. Okay, so there are your solutions. And again, you need to press pause, kind of see what I did. Go ahead, press pause to do that. Okay, so that then leads us to kind of the conclusion here. So we've talked about circles. Keep in mind that when we're looking at circles, the standard form for an equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Remember when you graph this equation, okay, you've got your center of your circle, okay, that's always going to be your hk, and you've got this radius that you can use. Sometimes you're going to be given everything you need, sometimes you'll have to find the radius, sometimes you might have to find the midpoint. The next thing we did then is we talked about how do you go about writing those if they give you the equation, how do you go about finding all of those things? When you find all of those different things, make sure that you're completing that square, okay, and taking care of it and moving it to the other side. Remember, what you add to one side of an equal sign, you also have to subtract from that other side of the equal sign, or add to the other side of the equal sign. And then the last thing we did is we solved system of equations kind of involving these different pieces. Make sure when you multiply something by itself that you're actually doing that FOIL and in there. Got a book assignment for you today. It's page 477. That should say 18 through 26. That came out a little bit goofy here. Let's see if we can fix that a little bit. Should say 18 through 26. Why is putting that there? I don't know. You got 18 through 26, 28, 29, 30, 33, 34, 37, and 38. You've got to see 3 views of me today. I hope you've enjoyed all 3 views. Give me a like, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.